Welcome to the Big Bear Homestead. And today, in our preparedness series...
Whoa. Tonight. It's tonight, not today.
That's true.
So tonight,
in our preparedness series, we're going to continue with our Dutch oven cooking. So tonight,
we're making Cowboy Casserole.
with a donkey in the background. Alright, so tonight, we're cooking Cowboy Casserole.
Kinda.
With a twist.
With a couple of twists.
Oh, a couple of twists. What were the twists?
Well, the original recipe usually is ground beef with chili beans and onions, peppers, a little bit. You try to add a little bit of flavor to it. And then you can mix either Bisquick or Jiffy corn mix on the top. If you do the corn mix, you can take a can of corn and mix it in with the cornmeal, and so it gives it a little bit more, you actually get a vegetable in there as well.
So we got beans and cornbread.
Yeah. So,
beans and cornbread.
So we did get all that. But instead of doing ground beef, we decided to do hot dogs. Just a different, kind of like a grunt stew. But truth be told, somebody forgot to pull out the ground beef. So, what do we do here on our homestead? We're Semper Gumby.
Always flexible,
Always
baby.
flexible. So we're going to show you what we do when things don't really go our way. We adapt and overcome.
You so mess that up.
How?
Every one of my Marines are face palming right now. They're like, we know Rhea taught her better than that. It is, we improvise, we adapt, and we overcome.
I'm sorry, I didn't say improvise. But anyway, we improvise.
There will be flogging.
There
will be flogging. Whoop-ow!
So anyway, what we've done is you take the ground beef or hot dogs, whatever. You put in the beans with the sauce that it comes with, and we used like 2 cans of the chili beans. Then you chop up about half a cup of onion, half a cup of green pepper. We didn't have any green pepper, so we didn't put the green pepper in there. But I thought that would feel or taste kind of funny with the hot dogs anyway, so we left that one out.
Yeah.
So then we put all of that in the Dutch oven, and you put coals underneath, and then you put coals on the top, and you let that go until it starts to boil. And then once it boils, you take the mixture of the Jiffy mix, you mix it as normal, but then you put in that can of cream corn, or not cream corn, regular corn, or you can do like the Mexican style corn that has the little peppers or whatever in it. Mix
That's the
that
one when
in.
you open up the can, it goes, hola.
No, it goes ole. But anyway, you take
hola,
that,
¿cómo está?
dump that all into the corn muffin mix it up real good, and then you pour that layer on top of the boiling mixture after it's been sitting in the fire for a little while. Once you put the cornmeal mix on top, you go ahead and replace the lid, put more hot coals on there, and then you let it cook for between 20 and 30 minutes. Okay? And then after about 30 minutes is where we're at. If you lift up the lid, you'll see that not only is the stuff on the bottom obviously pretty hot, but the top, the corn muffin mix has cooked and baked. Yeah. So now it's a full meal. And this is really good. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, but it's all stuff that's dry pantry store stuff. Your
Except the meat.
onions, huh? Well, even yeah,
But you can use Spam.
right. You could use any kind of canned meat
Or
for
fresh
this.
meat.
Right. Anything
Could
like
you
that.
use fish? You think you could use fish? I'm just thinking if we're in a grid down situation.
You probably could.
that
I would
fish.
think you'd have to cook the fish pretty good before you went ahead and mixed it in. I don't know how it would taste with
Okay.
with the chili. I'm not sure about that one.
But any other chicken, duck,
Any kind of
squirrel, rabbit, beaver.
right, any kind of meat like that, I think you would
Donkey.
be okay with. Just chop it up pretty good.
Rat.
So now I guess it's time to take the lid off and.
Is it time to pop the top?
I think so. I've got some serving utensils in a bowl over here.
Uh-oh.
So
You spoke my language.
yeah. So where's the tool?
Where's the top popper?
There's the top popper.
Oh, we
Go
lost
ahead.
the cast iron one, I guess. The one with the hook.
I'm sure it's just been misplaced.
The one that made it safe.
I don't know. That tool's pretty. Oh yeah, look at that. So it's nice.
I am a man.
Woo! With a little bit of.
I will eat that with the wood in there.
Okay. So do you
Alright,
want
so-
to lift it up and take it out?
Why we gotta take it out?
Well, I mean, you want to eat it, don't you?
Of course I want to eat it. I mean, do you know who you talking to?
Yeah, I do. The guy who can't get the lid. Okay. Very good.
There we go.
All right. So, now, one thing I will say about this recipe, when you're cooking over coals like this, you have to be really careful because it's going to be
Hot.
really, really hot. So, I think we're going to kind of let this cool off a little bit before we dive right into it.
That's probably
And,
a good idea.
Yeah, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Said, okay. Now, as you're seeing right here, Mama's scooping it out and giving us all of our bowls here, and we're gonna do a little taste test, eating under the stars like it was meant to be, because it is called Cowboy Casserole. So that means cowboys did this, and they had to eat under the stars because a cowboy works from sun up to sundown. Or at least that's what I'm told. I know that's what us hillbillies do.
Oh, hot.
Really hot.
Really? You wouldn't think it was hot just coming off the fire like that. I mean, you sure you're not getting hypothermia on your tongue?
Be careful when you're eating this because the corn muffin mix traps all the heat up underneath it. So the corn muffin cools down pretty quickly, but all of the layers up underneath it,
Don't.
yeah, they're still really hot. But this is really good.
I was a little worried when you dropped the bomb on me on film that y'all switched the Hamburg out for hot dogs.
Nope.
But it's not that bad with hot dogs. It's not.
It needs a little bit. I think. Okay, so in all the filming process and everything, I think we cooked out a little bit too much of the liquid. I think it's supposed to have a little bit more liquid in the bottom. I might even. We'll play around with this one and see if maybe we need to add like a can of tomato sauce or something in it to kind of.
This one is a good one because how many calories do you think is in this meal?
A lot.
Well, that narrowed it down.
Well, what I was thinking, not just with calories, but also this is a good morale boost kind of meal. Like hot dogs and cornbread. I mean, cornbread, it just kind of makes you feel all nice and warm on the inside. No? I mean, What?
So this type of meal would be good when you're running out of ideas. When you've got maybe you got a couple of squirrels and you don't want to cook them over the fire again, or you got a rabbit or a beaver, or you caught some rats, whatever. You caught something and you got some beans and you just, whether you stumbled across some Jiffy cornmeal mix or if you had some in your preps that you'll be able to put together, make all of those different things not just edible, but like you said, a morale booster, but it also packs a lot of calories, which also helps keep your morale, your energy level up, and helps keep you going when others are trying to survive just on leafy greens and rice. You know?
Exactly.
And so it's a little bit more of a labor intensive meal than the other ones that we've shown, because you have to cook the bottom first, then mix up the cornmeal mix. And it's not one of the meals that you can just put on the coals and walk away with for the better part of the day.
No.
Like the roast.
No, it has to be like an hour.
Right.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it's a one person. One person stays behind and just makes sure that the coals. Because really, when you're talking about it boiling, you're maybe talking 5 minutes or so if your coals are warm, pretty hot. It did not take long for that area to start, all of that to start boiling. And then, literally, you mix up the Jiffy mix is not much, like what, oil and eggs? And you pour it on there, and then you do walk away for 30 minutes. You don't have to do much.
All of these meals with this Dutch oven, you don't have to have a huge roaring fire. You need just a little one that's going to produce coals for you that you can cook on top of these coals.
Right. Now, we've seen in the past, they do have a contraption that you can get that is like basically a metal cylinder where you can do regular charcoals. And, and we've seen that in the past when we were doing Boy Scouts. That's what they would do, is set up those charcoals, get them nice and going, and then put them on the underneath and on top. And actually, this recipe, originally, it says, so many briquettes. And I'm like, who uses briquettes? I mean, you got a fire. Use your coals,
right.
So you just have to use your judgment on putting your coals around the top and around the bottom. Make sure that they're not too close to the bottom of the pot, but then again, you don't want them to be too far away.
And it all comes with practice.
It really does.
And doing it, because even tonight, we did burn a little bit of the edge.
Well, because it was close to the edge of the fire.
But it was close to the fire, which got the Dutch oven hotter in that spot than it did anywhere else.
Right.
But again, all of these things come with practice. So get yourself a Dutch oven. You'll be able to find the link in the description. And start going out there, building a fire, and start practicing some of these meals on coals. So that way you've got somewhat of a experience with it, and you'll be able to make edible meals without, if the grid goes down.
Well, and the other cool thing, this will kind of segue us into next week. We're going to kind of use a very similar concept here for what we're going to make next week. So,
but next week's going to be a little bit sweeter.
Little bit sweeter. There's a little bit.
Well, that's it for this episode of Preparedness on the Big Bear Homestead. Basically cooking with a Dutch oven. You guys better come back next week, because things are going to get a little bit sweeter around here. Hint, hint.
Well, when you let me be in charge of a meal.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm not even commenting. No comment. Thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead, and like always,
have a nice day.